Live from the Ram Cave, I'm Joe Trozian, and this is RamView, the August 4th, 2022 edition. Glad to be back. Got my Rams gear on, got my Rams set behind me, kind of rolls in, rolls out. And happy to talk football because guess what? This is the first NFL game tonight since the Rams won that game back in February. What was that game? I can't remember what that game was, but my mug will tell you in case you can't remember. So the Hall of Fame game is tonight, and I've heard people say, who cares? It's the Hall of Fame game. I even heard, pretty popular people in the sports media say, oh, I'll watch a little bit, then I'll have a cocktail and go to bed. No. Can I just tell you this? You cannot not watch the Hall of Fame game. If you decide you don't want to watch the Hall of Fame game, then I don't think you're really a football fan or at least not the football fan that I think of, because the kind of football fan that won't watch the Hall of Fame game, that disregards preseason, that moves on and says, I'm not interested till the starters play. It's like, you're a 21st century football fan. You're just into the moment. You're about collecting experiences as opposed to really investing. And so you gotta love the Hall of Fame game. You just do. Jaguars, Raiders tonight. You're not going to see the starters, but what you're going to see are players fighting for everything they've ever dreamed of, going back to when they were kids. And so it's worth seeing. It's worth getting a gauge on who the backup quarterbacks are, who the backups are, who the guys that are going to play when somebody gets hurt, because somebody's going to get hurt. And then there's the other aspect of it. If you're building a fantasy team, you might want to see who's out there to take a flyer on, because there's always that ghost player that ends up breaking the bank. I go back about, 10 years ago. I was on a 9-game winning streak. I was ready to win my second consecutive fantasy title, and I got torched because one of my guys signed Julian Edelman, who 10, 11 years ago, 12 years ago was a good player, but 11 years, whatever this was, he was a good player. He just wasn't the Julian Edelman who he later became. And he got scored 30-something points in a late season game, and I got bounced from my fantasy football playoffs. I would have been back-to-back champs. And maybe if I had an idea who Julian Edelman was, maybe I'd have known something or did a little more investigation. And that's what you have to do. I mean, you're a football fan. For goodness sakes, appreciate what they're doing. They're going out there, and you're going to see names and faces and stuff. And, you're kind of gross to me as far as I'm not interested. Who cares? I'm just waiting for the season to start. You're also the person that watches the big game in the sports bar. You can't watch a big game in the sports bar and call yourself a serious fan. I know. I'm getting all preachy here, and I haven't even opened the Bible. All right. So we got this, just covering our tracks here. The new landscape in the NFL is, and in our world is, you don't have to be convicted in a court of law. All you got to do is be convicted in the court of public opinion and on social media, and you're guilty until proven innocent. We know that's how it works in this country, right? Someone makes an accusation, you are guilty until proven innocent, and then it depends on how many intersections you go through on the level of it, and what I mean by intersections and intersectionality, come see me another time. So by this metric that you're guilty until proven innocent, Deshaun Watson is guilty, okay? The accusations upwards to 24, 25 that have brought suits. Deshaun Watson's guilty. But Deshaun Watson's case sounds like a bunch of well-off people trying not to be the person that says you can't play, right? Everyone's passing the buck, right? Everyone wants to say it wasn't me. Roger Goodell, largely gutless, which I can't understand. He's made his dough. He's the commissioner of the league. He could step away anytime, be set for life. He should be in a position where he just says, no, it's obvious. This guy, look what he did. He's guilty. He should be suspended for a year. But because he's somewhat gutless on a professional level, they brought in the whole NFLPA, and they had a whole discussion on how they're going to do this thing. And so this way they could say, we brought in Sue L. Robinson, and she's a former judge, and she's going to make the decision here. And And it's like the NFL thinks they're going to not be responsible. It's not on them. Folks, it all happens under the shield. So whether Sue L. Robinson or Roger Goodell blows this case, it's all on the NFL. And Sue L. Robinson, come on. Goodness gracious. You even say it in the report that it was egregious, it was terrible, a pattern of behavior. And then you say there's no precedent. You're the precedent. Sue L. Robinson, you're the precedent because they brought you in. They've done something completely different. The old precedent has been thrown out. Sue L. Robinson, you described basically Deshaun Watson as one of the worst people in the world, and you gave him 6 games saying you have no precedent. Yeah, the NFL, you're right, is pretty gutless when it comes to these things, but so are you. No one wants to be the bad guy. And can I just tell you something? In life, the right thing, doing the right thing, I know this through experience, will cost you your job, but it's the right thing. And again, how much dough have Goodell and Robinson in their various careers socked away? How much more do they need to force them from a CYA mentality to doing the right thing? And that's what it is, more than anything. We know what Watson did, and I know there's going to be something that happens down the road that has nothing to do with us, that we're not going to be privy to, where this account will be settled. Okay? We know this. Not in anything in our lifetime, probably in the spiritual realm. These things have a tendency to get settled. I trust in that. But you know the right thing you need to do, and no one wants to do the right thing because no one wants to look bad because everyone's afraid of all the intersections somebody might pass through as a minority, as a woman, as an LGBTQ person, as all these different intersections, and nobody wants to step into it and say, you screwed up, you're getting benched. No one wants to take responsibility anymore. And that's the thing, right? Deshaun Watson's Deshaun Watson. But I think what this is, and it's good because the NFL does need to die in its current iteration. I don't want to have football go away. But the NFL is so corporate, so above reproach, so afraid of everything. They'll glob on to every group on the planet, right? Just to say, love me, love me, love me. So afraid. It needs to die. And so if the NFL is being embarrassed here, good for the NFL being embarrassed. I hope it's embarrassed to tears in that sense. Love football, but the NFL has gotten too big and it does need to be humbled. And you need to look at it and say, yeah, you guys are a joke. And they are in many ways. Happy birthday to former Rams strong safety Darian Stewart to get back on track here. He turns 34 today. Stewart played 4 years with the Rams from 2010 to 2013 out of South Carolina, undrafted free agent. Started several games for the Rams. Was probably a starter for 2 of those seasons. Had some injuries. And then, as it goes with the Rams and safeties, he wasn't offered a contract. Signed with the Ravens in 2014 and then ended up with the Broncos in 2015. 4 seasons with the Broncos, 2015 through 2018. And was a heavy contributor for the Broncos in their Super Bowl 50 championship over the Carolina Panthers. Even got a sack in that game. So happy birthday to Darian Stewart, who left the NFL in 2019 after a season with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's only 34. Good for him. Jaguars Raiders tonight on NBC. That's awesome. There's no Derek Carr. There's no Devontae Adams. No, but new coach, the new coach for the Raiders, man, Josh McDaniels, the new coach. Jarrett Stidham, former Patriot, is the quarterback, one of the quarterbacks we expect to see play tonight. Nick Mullins out of San Francisco. We expect him maybe to see play tonight. Chase Garbers, former Cal quarterback, could hit the field. Also running back Breton Brown out of UCLA. He had significant touches. He was a 7th-round pick, 251 overall by the Raiders. 251, I think that's Ben Skoranek. That's the Ben Skoranek pick. And so the Raiders are going to give this guy playing time. They need to ease Josh Jacobs' workload. Also, Zamir White, 4th round, 122 overall out of Georgia. It's going to be interesting to see. There's stuff to see here. Hey, the Jaguars. Hey, Darius Williams might not play, but he's with the Jaguars now. So it's interesting stuff. Trayvon Walker's with the Jaguars, number 1 pick. We don't know if he's going to see the field tonight. So interesting stuff. Always interesting to watch football. The NFL puts a good product on the league on on the field, it's just a shame at the corporate level. It's so bad. So I would encourage you, if you're a football fan, watch the Hall of Fame game. Saw the Terrell Lewis interview yesterday that the Rams did. Hey, Terrell Lewis, obviously, when you look at him, he's a physical specimen. Totally get why he's in the NFL. Played at Alabama, and he's just got this knee issue, right, that always seems to come up. He seems like a thoughtful, kind person. But as I was watching him being interviewed, I just don't see Terrell Lewis as a killer. And what I mean by that is it's not his knee holding him back. Sometimes, to me, it strikes me it's the motor. 20 plus years as a sports writer. I've been on high school fields, college fields, professional fields, although not on an NFL field. I'll say that. I've done all the other levels and everything, been there on the field, interviewed some of these players, many of these players. And there's just players and if you've been around or you've been in coaching, you look at your roster and you see at the high school level, you see a 6'3", 275 guy. You see him, oh man, he's a Bubba, right? You're run him at tackle and run right up his back. And then you see him in practice or you see him in a workout and you say, Coach, you got a 6'3", 275 Bubba here. How come he's not playing? Instead, you got 5'10", 205 kid playing at tackle. And he said, he's not a killer. That he just doesn't have that eye of the tiger. He just doesn't have that mentality, which a lot of people seem to forget is so important in football. It's the mentality. There's a lot of physical specimens and talented people out there that can do amazing things, but they're just not built that way between the ears. They're just not built that way to be hyper aggressive. I just got that vibe, and I'll take any correction. I hope the guy has 20 sacks, and I can come back here and say I'm wrong. I hope he has a fantastic career. Terrell Lewis seems like a really smart, nice guy. But, he's missed half his career already with knee injuries. He wasn't suited up for the Super Bowl. He was ticked off about that, he said. But I didn't get I didn't get the chip on the shoulder. And in his position with the knee injuries and lack of playing time and not being on the roster for the Super Bowl, he needs more of a chip on his shoulder. And I didn't see the chip on the shoulder. And that's why Justin Hollins is going to get the other job at edge until he gets hurt or the Rams find someone better. Kind of what was that movie? You have the job until you die, or I find someone better. Starship Troopers. There we go. Right? Justin Hollins has the other edge job until he dies, gets injured, or they find someone better. But that someone better, I don't think, is Terrell Lewis. Keep an eye on Chris Garrett. Keep an eye on Daniel Hardy. All right. Keep looking at the depth charts that I see on PFF. They got Taylor Rapp starting, and all I'm hearing is good stuff about Nick Scott, and real excited about Nick Scott starting at safety. He has to start, right? I mean, we saw the Rams high safeties, the two high, right? We saw the Rams with Taylor Rapp, and then we saw them with Nick Scott. I don't know why this would even be a discussion, and unless you're trying to get Taylor Rapp some snaps and some looks that you might be able to deal him, because that is a strong possibility between with a room full of Jordan Fuller, Nick Scott, Taylor Rapp, Terrell Burgess, Quentin Lake, Russ Yeast. There's a lot of safeties in that room, and somebody could be dealt. I think the Rams have another year with Burgess. Taylor Rapp is a free agent, so is Nick Scott after this year. Someone's going to get moved, it seems like, if an offer comes. And here's the interesting thing. Quentin Lake's on the PUP list right now, and Russ Yeast, who at best looked like a practice squad player, he's shining right now. He's a double degree guy from Kansas. And we thought, okay, he's just a special teams guy. He's just a practice squad guy. He's not going to get much looks, and he probably won't get many looks this year. But if he's impressing enough, he's in that next rotation of safeties, the Rams kind of go through, right? You got Johnny Johnson. He plays his first contract. He moves on. Taylor Rapp has reached that point. TJ McDonald reached that point. Darian Stewart reached that point. The Rams don't re-sign their safeties in the next iteration of safety right now might be Quentin Lake and Russ Yeast. It'll be interesting to see. But until then, Nick Scott should be the starter. I just don't see why Nick Scott's not even listed on the depth charts I'm seeing. He probably is, but I'm not seeing the depth chart. That leaves, though, when you think of Justin Hollins, which I don't see Terrell Lewis pushing him for the job, and I see Nick Scott as a starter at safety. To me, on defense, the spot that is up in the air is the other corner spot. I know Coach K, who clicked on one of my links yesterday, doesn't see Troy Hill getting dealt. Troy Hill, if he's not dealt, will be in the slot. And so on the outside, who's it going to be? Is it going to be Robert Rochelle? Is it going to be David Long? Is it going to be Darian Kendrick? Is it going to be Jacoby Bryant? These guys are all playing really well right now. And so, again, I think there's someone in there that could be dealt, David Long. And then the last thing here is we hit the 16-minute mark is John Wolford. I mean, I've scoured it everywhere. I've looked for every piece of film I could. I've looked on every link I could find to think, hey, do the Rams have any doubts about Wolford? As time goes on, it's clear that the Rams have no doubts about Wolford, which means we shouldn't have doubts about Wolford. But I do have doubts about Wolford. I just do. If Stafford, we know, had the injection, I'm happy. Keep him. He doesn't have to do anything. So great. More stabs for Wolford, more stabs for Bryce Perkins. But I just don't see John Wolford filling in for 3 weeks if Stafford goes down. And your quarterbacks go down in this league. People get hurt, especially guys entering their 14th season that have taken and experienced the carnage that Matthew Stafford has experienced. Okay. Hey, we are coming up to the 17-minute mark. I'm getting to wrap up. Look at this. No discussion whatsoever about Kyler Murray. My last discussion on Deshaun Watson, and I really felt I didn't talk about Deshaun Watson. It's really no one wants to be the adult in the room and sit somebody down. Everyone's trying to pass the buck. Sue L. Robinson, Roger Goodell, and didn't talk about any of those things. Didn't talk about Trey Lance. Cowboys signed Anthony Barr. Great signing in 2018. Kind of a desperate signing in 2022 that a guy like Anthony Barr, who's had a great career, that he would have to wait until the first week of August to get a contract. And I think they're giving him $2 million with another $1 million in incentive. All right. So looking forward to watching the football game and talking about the game tonight. And I know, please, folks, watch it. You're going to learn something, and you can take down notes. You can, you're not gonna know who your Super Bowl champion is going to be, but you're going to learn a little bit something about the depth on each one of these squads, the Jaguars and the Raiders. And finally, I wanted to add that, you could follow me at joeterosian.com. JT Bank 1964 is my email at Yahoo for my newsletter. Follow me on Twitter at JoeT13B, Instagram, JoeT13B. And please hit like and subscribe here on YouTube for RamView. Also, Spotify. We've established that on Spotify. It's been kind of hit and miss lately. I haven't really taken off on that yet. Still getting my feet wet in the full podcast world. But please, we could really use the hits. Go to Spotify, leave a review, leave a like, leave a comment. And finally, someone wanted me to say, they asked me, how much I would bet on a certain situation. Folks, I don't bet. I don't know how to bet. I'm not judging you that do. And I'm not even saying as a minister, it was a spiritual thing for me. Just never had the money to bet. And so I don't know how to read a line. I don't know how to understand those things or anything. The only time I bet is when I get really mad at somebody and say my team's going to win. Right. And I don't play, give me a touchdown, give me a point. It's win or lose. That's it. My team's going to win. And I generally bet a pizza. I think the last time I bet money was in January of '85. Dolphins, 49ers were getting ready for the Super Bowl. I think it was Super Bowl 19. I was working in a shop at a store, and all the night crew guys were saying, oh, Dan Marino's going to do this, Dan Marino's going to do that. And I remember I said, you guys are crazy. I said, Ronnie Lott in that secondary is not going to let the Marx brothers run wild like everyone else did in the AFC this year. And so some guy says, really put your money where your mouth is. And I said, okay, we did $20. And then this other guy goes, oh, I'd like a piece of that. How about 10? So I made $30 on that Super Bowl. And one of the guys that was a heavy gambler, he came back and said, "How did you know? You were so sure. You should have bet the house." And I said, "Because I don't know how to bet." All right, there we go, guys. Thank you so much. I hit the 20-minute mark. Tim Burns, Papa K, thank you so much for the clicks. Everyone else for clicking on and talking. Steve Ramirez, God bless. Take care, and we will talk to you tomorrow.